The North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, is officially a military alliance formed in 1949 to protect member countries from external aggression, particularly during the Cold War. Headquartered in Brussels, Belgium, NATO presents itself as a force for peace, security, and collective defense. However, beneath the surface lies a web of secrecy, geopolitical manipulation, shadow warfare, and growing allegations of conspiracies. Critics, scholars, and whistleblowers have long questioned whether NATO's actions align with its stated goals, or whether it's a tool of power projection for a select few. 1. What is NATO? Formed after World War II to counter the Soviet Union's influence, includes 32 member nations as of 2024, primarily from Europe and North America. Based on Article 5, an attack on one member is considered an attack on all. Official missions: defense of members, crisis management, cooperative security. But in practice, NATO has often gone beyond defense, intervening in sovereign nations under various pretexts. The Cold War and covert operations. During the Cold War, NATO wasn't just a defense pact. It was involved in secret operations and psychological warfare. Operation Gladio, Italy, 1950s-1980s. One of the most well-documented NATO conspiracies. Gladio was a stay-behind operation to resist potential Soviet invasions, but it allegedly funded right-wing paramilitaries that carried out false-flag terrorist attacks blamed on communists to manipulate public opinion. Involved intelligence agencies like the CIA, MI6, and Italy's SISMI. Italy's prime minister admitted Gladio existed, but full details remain classified. NATO and the Yugoslavia conflict, 1990s. NATO's 1999 bombing campaign in Yugoslavia is viewed by some as the beginning of NATO's shift from defense to offensive power. NATO intervened without UN Security Council approval, bombing Serbian targets for 78 days. Civilian infrastructure like hospitals and TV stations was hit. Critics argue the campaign was not purely humanitarian, but aimed to reshape the Balkans, expand NATO's influence, and contain Russian support in the region. Conspiracy theory: NATO purposely destabilized Yugoslavia to divide a strong independent socialist state and gain control of strategic energy routes and territory. The Afghanistan and Libya interventions. Afghanistan, 2001-2021. NATO invoked Article 5 after 9/11. Sent troops to Afghanistan for counter-terrorism, but the mission evolved into nation-building and a long-term occupation. After 20 years, NATO forces withdrew, leaving the Taliban in control again. Libya, 2011. NATO's air campaign helped rebels overthrow Muammar Gaddafi, claimed goal to prevent civilian deaths. Actual result: Gaddafi killed. Libya collapsed into expansion toward Russia's borders. One of NATO's most contentious actions is its eastward expansion after the Cold War. Despite promises to not expand 1 inch eastward, NATO added multiple former Warsaw Pact countries. This angered Russia, which views NATO as a threat, not a defensive force. Ukraine's potential NATO membership was a key reason cited by Russia for invading in 2022. Conspiracy angle. Some believe NATO provoked conflict intentionally, using Ukraine to weaken Russia through proxy war without direct confrontation. 6. Hidden influence and shadow power. Critics suggest NATO influences media narratives through member states, works closely with military-industrial lobbies to justify arms spending, encourages continuous militarization to sustain its relevance, marginalizes UN authority by taking unilateral action under humanitarian guise. NATO and cyber, psychological and hybrid warfare. Today, NATO invests in cyber warfare units, disinformation campaigns, social media monitoring, hybrid warfare strategies involving non-military tools to destabilize targets. Example, energy blackouts, economic disruption. Some believe NATO and its partners are conducting low-visibility warfare against states like Iran, Syria, and even within allied countries to control political outcomes. 8. Whistleblowers and leaks. Former officials and journalists have revealed covert operations conducted under NATO protection, black sites and rendition programs in Europe, false intelligence used to justify interventions. Yet secrecy laws and limited media scrutiny keep much of NATO's inner workings hidden. Conclusion. While NATO is publicly described as a shield for peace and cooperation, its history is laced with covert operations, regime changes, political manipulation, and violations of sovereignty. Whether these actions were strategic necessities or calculated conspiracies depends on perspective. What's certain is that NATO is far more than a defensive alliance. It's a global power broker, often acting outside public oversight. As new threats emerge in cyber, AI, and space, NATO's secretive role is likely to grow, and so will the speculation surrounding its true agenda.